Good afternoon. Welcome to the Gaunt podcast. Let's start off and get straight to the point today, shall we? Hello. Nigel Farage has already won the next election. He will be the Prime Minister. There might be a couple of no-hopers from Labour in between now and then, including a lettuce, but somehow I doubt it. He's already dictating the agenda. Why don't we just make him the Prime Minister? It's completely ludicrous, the situation we're in. We've all lost faith in the established parties. Or have I got it wrong? Can Farage become the next Prime Minister? Can Reform UK form a government? Maybe you're in the Rupert Lowe camp or the Ben Habib and you say, look, he's not the right one to do it. But I'm telling you now, Labour are finished. The Tories are finished. They've just come out with some immigration nonsense. Well, it's not them. It's Generic who's come out with it. He goes on and talks about policy, but never mentions the party he's a member of. The whole thing is completely and utterly a mess. I say we need change. I say we need reform. Nigel Farage, last night, he was in Washington, D.C., because GB News, where he works, they've been going on about launching a show in Washington every night of the week at midnight. They went over to launch it yesterday, effectively. They had the great and good and the not so good of American politics. They're becoming a force to be reckoned with. But he made this speech after he'd been at Congress and wiped their backsides for them. He went to see Donald Trump, which is why I've put the picture with him there now. He's on the world stage. He's part of that whole world view. So he can claim victory now before a single vote is cast. If you agree with me, hit the comment button. If you disagree with me, still give me a comment. Also, hit the like button if you could, please. So I'm saying that Reform's UK's surge now is absolutely shaking the political establishment in the UK to its core. They're unstoppable, 15 points ahead. And that would be okay because you could normally say, well, there's 3 or 4 years to go. But do you believe that Starmer or Starmer's government is going to last that long? Of course it's not. Rayner refusing to resign and Starmer refusing to sack her until he gets this report. It's nonsense. The report won't save her because every time she stands up in Parliament or she talks about housing, she's just going to get ridiculed. She's finished. She's dead. Her political career is over. And this is the point at which Starmer needs to show leadership. He should boot her out. And while he's at it, he may as well do it to Rachel Reeves as well, because she has completely hooked up the economy. Do you agree or not? So at the launch party for GB News last night in Washington, D.C., Farage boasted. Well, was it a boast? I don't know if it was. I think it was a statement of fact. He said he's going to win the next UK election. He used that line about they laughed at us then. They're not laughing now. He's going to take the keys to number 10 Downing Street. So fresh from roasting Congress. I love the lefties today. They reckon he got a dressing down. It was quite the opposite. He was very statesmanlike. He got a few laughs and he put them in their place. And then they all said to him towards the end, like pathetic kids, are you going to see the president? He said, what's he got to do with you? And he wouldn't tell them. But he did go and see the president. You've probably seen the photo. There's a picture of him and Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Nigel Farage says that Reform UK is the only party offering real answers. I agree with him. It's taken me some time, but I agree. Because Labour and the Tories have collapsed into chaos and infighting, and Labour will just fall apart now. You watch. And the polls, not the ones LES polls, as in, opinion polls, tell the same story. Voters have had enough of the old parties, the so-called uni-party. They don't like the fact that their only answer is to copy Farage's policies. So you've had both the Tories and Labour desperately trying to be Farage light. But it doesn't work because they don't believe it. So therefore, they're not authentic. Now, I know some people question Farage's authenticity. I know the man. I've met him. He is authentic, warts and all. That's him. And you only have to look at what he did with Brexit. He believed in that for 20 odd years, and he dedicated his life in between getting boozed up and smoking and shagging, I think. He basically has dedicated his life to getting us out of the EU. He's the only politician who had a vision and fulfilled it. Now, of course, Brexit was not the Brexit he wanted in the end. But did he get us the referendum? Yes. Did we get out? Yes. And then people say, is he the real thing? Well, yes, he is, obviously. And so what he's saying he wants to do about deportation, what he wants to do about the migrant hotels, I tell you something, if I had to bet on anyone, I'd rather put my money with Nigel Farage, I'm talking about him as an individual, not necessarily the whole party, than with the other two parties. They haven't got a clue. It's conference season. Farage has got his conference tomorrow. He'll get loads of publicity. It'll go down a storm. Then we've got the Tories, we've got Labour. Forget about the Lib Dems. I think they're over in theirs in the phone box. But the bottom line is he's going to dominate the agenda again because he's got ideas. I agree. Some of them aren't worked up. Some of them aren't costed out yet. But what have the old parties got? And can you trust them? Starmer said he had a plan, but when he got to number 10, he had no plan. That's why his government's falling apart. And the fact that he won't act on Rayner proves just how weak he is. He'd prefer to be pouncing around the world. How dare he insult Nigel Farage yesterday, saying he's off in America when he should be here in the Commons. You're never here, Starmer. That's what we call you, never here, Keir. And also, you're two-tier Keir. And you're also, I'll take all the freebies, Keir. See, I don't think right from the beginning, when you took the Taylor Swift tickets, I know you gave $6,000 back, and that just makes me wonder why, and the free suits, oh, suit you, sir, and all the rest of it, you've never recovered from that. There isn't anything. You know all these videos you make? I'm waiting for the one that actually shows something you've achieved. Oh, I know what it is. You've given a load of kids free school meals. Well, I was a free school meal kid. You're now giving them breakfast. How about teaching their parents or giving parental sort of freedom policies that make parents parent? Because that's what's at the core of the problem. Giving them a bowl of muesli when they get there, that isn't going to solve anything, you plonker. That's just one example. Starmer is drowning, if not already drowned. Look at what he's done on migration. Look at the hotels. He went against his own people and sided with the EU or the ECHR. Today, there's a story that they're now, the Home Office, who you fund, they're appealing for a 6-week break so they can have more time to prepare their case. Their case, yes, their case against the British public. That's what's going on. And he's using your money. He's a waste of space. And the fact that he can't deal with Angela Rayner, the fact that Angela Rayner thought she could get away with it. And listen, I'm not buying the sob story. I feel sorry for her if she's got a kid like that and she's having to look after him. Fine. But I'm sorry. She's in charge of housing. She's a very clever woman. She would have got all this checked out. She just wanted to save 40 grand. The excuses are pathetic. And even if she was to get cleared by the watchdog in the next day or two, which I don't think she will, but you don't know with this government, do you? If she does, she's absolutely damaged goods. She is finished. This idea that she didn't know is just cobblers. And they expect us to swallow it. Just like they expect us to swallow the fact that they've all got union flags in their shed. That Yvette Cooper wakes up every morning, turns to Buckingham Palace and sings the bloody national anthem before she pulls on her union flag knickers. It rubbish. And what's the problem with Labour is they're not authentically Labour. The bizarre thing, of course, is Angela Rayner is. But that's not going to save them, is it? The Tories are no longer Tories, not like Maggie Thatcher. All of them just want power. They get drunk on the power. That's why Angela Rayner thought she'd get away with it. That's why the MP for Stratford all that time ago, the Tory, he thought she'd get away with it. Boris Johnson, all of them. They don't think they have to worry about us, the little make me sick. Now, I don't know whether Farage, when he gets in power, will be just the same. But I don't know. What about you? I'm going to give him a chance. Are you? I think it's immaterial which way I vote or you vote, actually. He's going to have an absolute landslide because he's talking about the things that bother us. Illegal migration being number one, and the nature of what this country is, and pride in our country, and, of course, freedom of speech. He went there yesterday and he gave the Yanks, or those Democrats who tried to slack him off, he gave them as good as he got. He did brilliantly. And I don't want to live in a country where police are policing tweets and not the streets. I want the coppers on the street. I don't want rainbow bootlaces. I want a few boots up jackasses. That's what I want. And I don't want two-tier policing. I want policing to be fair. And I think that is what he's offering. And that's why the British public are saying enough is enough. We need Farage. And that's why he can brag and say, I will be the next Prime Minister. Would you bet against it? Would you bet against it? And the sooner we get the election, the better. Because effectively, Nigel Farage is in control already. They're all copying his policies. They're all trying to agree with him because they know he's got the populist, whatever you want to call it, vote. If you like what I'm saying, please click the like button. If you disagree, you can still press the like button and have an argument with me. Put your comments underneath. I'm coming to them in a moment. This will not be a really long one. This is just an extra one I'm throwing in now. Hopefully there'll be more to talk about and I'll be back at 6:30. But I do think this is really, really important. Now, you might say, hold on, I want to go that way. I want to go right, but I don't think Farage is the man. Tell me about that. Do you think Ben Habib can get his act together, or Rupert Lowe? See, I don't think he can, which again is why I say Farage will be the next Prime Minister. And do you remember on Monday, it's only two and a bit days ago, Starmer said this was the launch of phase 2 of his government when they start to get things done. He'll have to launch phase 3 in a moment. He's had more relaunches than Elon Musk's rockets, hasn't he? It's an absolute joke. And the bottom line with Starmer, he's just a liar. But we can see when he's lying. It's when his lips move. Why hasn't he sorted out Rayner? And then I put the BBC on. And the BBC 1 o'clock news today said, Cabinet colleagues are rallying around, what's her name? Angela Rayner. What a load of bull. Then they played the interview with Rachel Reeves. She couldn't even look at the camera. She's looking at the floor like this, saying, oh, yeah, Angela's a very good friend of mine, and she's speaking like a robot like this. She was not supporting her. None of them are supporting her. Normally, when something like this happens, you get a load of backbench MPs coming on. No one is supporting her. They all know she's been caught bang to rights. There's a bit of sympathy because of her son's disability, but the bottom line is they know Rayner's a liar. And Starmer can't afford to get rid of her because at the moment, she'll take a lot of the flack for him. Because have you noticed what we're not talking about on the main news at the moment, the mainstream news, is the migrants who are still flooding in, the illegals, the criminals. This is just distraction. I say, give us an election now. I say, let Farage run the country. Let's take some views. Craig says, I hope you and your family are well. They're fine. Yeah. What's that got to do with the show? Bus driver, how do you think we can bring about an election? Well, we can't. He has to call the election. But if there's so much distrust, mistrust, the pressure just builds. If he loses Rayner, which he is going to, that's one of the reasons I'm doing the show now, because by 6 o'clock, she may well be gone. She's going to go in the next day or two without a shadow. Rachel Reeves will follow on quite quickly afterwards. And then Starmer, it all just falls apart. And the way an election will come about is his own party will turn against him the moment they think their jobs are at risk. Well, they must know that already. But you see, the other problem is they haven't got anyone really to replace him. If they brought in the mayor of Manchester, he's got to be given a safe seat first, Andy Burnham. Where do they go? And if it wasn't for Nigel, they wouldn't be doing anything at all. It's because of Nigel Farage and reform that they're doing at least something. But it's a joke. Give us an election. If you agree with me, and if you'd like to donate to keep these going, just click on that little $sign at the bottom of the screen, please, and donate some cash via YouTube, as big or as small as you wish, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Right, let's get to your comments. Jackie Ward, hi, Jackie. It's a pity President Trump will be gone before Farage gets the keys to number 10. They could really do deals and work together. Well, I thought that when I saw the picture. But, Jackie, you've got to be a bit more confident. Farage will be in number 10 within 18 months. It's not going to take 4 years. There's no way that he can keep control for that long. And if we suddenly get a bailout from the International Monetary Fund, yes, we're up shit creek without a paddle. But there'll have to be a government of national unity. And Farage would have to be involved in that. They have completely messed it up. I'm not saying it's all their fault. 14 years of total misrule by the Tories before them. I say I've got no faith, no confidence in any of them. Switch them off when they're on, but let's give Farage the job. John, we can forget about the Greens as well, says Craig Mawson. We certainly can with who they've elected. They've elected a right radical Islamist as their deputy leader, and the main leader is an ex-actor who thinks he's Corin Redgrave or something. Huh? What's he about? Unbelievable. And, of course, there's Jeremy Corbyn, who's also going to attack the base vote for Labour. But none of that, all of that is irrelevant. Farage is going to win by a landslide. Write it in your diary. Today's the date, I'm telling you, September the 4th. He will be Prime Minister. I don't even think he's bragging. I think he's just stating simple facts. Denise Deacon, absolutely 100%. I'm going to vote for reform. He's our only hope at the moment. He is, Denise, and that's where I've come to. I'm not sure about the rest of his party. I'm not even sure how long they'll last. But I come back to the conclusion, he can't be any worse than a bunch of Muppets we've had for the last 14 or so years. And we've got to stop it now. We want them out. I'm giving Farage a chance. No one can be as bad as Labour, says Suzanne Lopez on Facebook. I don't know, Suzanne, be careful. Careful. I thought that as well, but look what we've got. It's just dreadful. They planned to get elected. They didn't plan for what they'd do afterwards. And they talked about the grown-ups are back in the room and we're going to do this and we're going to hit the ground running. Well, they hit the ground running and they gave all the unions a pay rise. I'm not even saying that's necessarily wrong, but it wasn't planned, was it? And then they talk about the black hole. Well, there obviously was a black hole. Whether it was of the proportions they're saying, I don't know. I doubt it. Because everything that Starmer has said is bullshit. Zelensky, Britain is behind you. No, we're not. You want to send our kids to fight in a foreign war. We're not going to do it. You better get this message, Starmer. You strut about the world stage thinking you're Billy Big Boots, but the British public don't like you. You've got the lowest ratings ever, -41, your personal ratings. You're finished. The Rachel Reeves interview was about as disingenuous as you can get, says Denise. Yeah, I don't know whether you've seen it. It'll be on the news later. Watch it if you get the chance. She's looking at the floor. And you know she speaks like a robot. There's only ever 4 words in each sentence. Now, I've told you that. You won't be able to not see it. But she didn't say anything. She said, oh, yeah, she's a very good friend of mine and very capable. But I've just said that in a much more animated way without even thinking about it. That was not an endorsement. But the BBC, Pravda, they reported it as if, oh, all the cabinet are getting behind it. Because you know what? The BBC are absolutely cacking themselves. You can hear their arse cheeks clanging from here. Because they know if Farage gets in power, the gravy train will suddenly be slamming on the brakes. The BBC will not exist in the way it does at the moment. And rightly so. Hold on a minute. Because the BBC are just like Labour and the Conservatives. They think they've got a God-given right to tell us. But the original thing about the BBC was to educate, inform, and entertain. They now believe it's to educate only. And educate you in the cultural Marxist theory they've all got running through their veins. So they will hate the idea, absolutely hate the idea that Farage is going to win. But they can't stop it. You can't be King Canute saying, send the waves back, which is what they've been, the waves of bloody illegal immigrants we need to send back. You can't. You've got to do something. You've got to do something authentic that you believe in. The BBC, I don't think they even gave much coverage to what Farage did yesterday. It's one of the most important debates of the moment. Free speech, which I'm sure Lord Reith, who set up the BBC, would believe in. But the BBC only has one truth now. It's this kind of lefty cultural Marxism, which doesn't chime with the general population, the people who have to pay for the BBC, the vast majority. So the BBC are finished if Farage gets in power. The establishment will not like it. If I had £1 every time someone said Starmer and the government is finished, I could buy you so many coffees. I hope Nigel does become PM because he has plans and answers the questions, unlike Starmer. Well, I was going to have a go at you there, Regan and Carter, on YouTube, because you started off kind of slagging. I'm not like other commentators. I call things when I know I'm right. I am not calling this because other people have said it, because nobody is. I'm saying Farage was right to go into the belly of the beast in Congress yesterday, take them on, and then also say, here I am. This TV station, which he basically models on himself, doesn't he? Let's be honest about it. We're going to take America now. That's the kind of idea. That's the kind of attitude you want, isn't it? But then you went on to say, I hope Nigel does become PM because he's got plans and he answers the questions. Unlike Starmer, he does. I haven't ever seen him duck a question. And that is a massive difference. And that's what the British public want. Even if you say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll tell you what, I'll go and find out and I'll come back. People want authenticity and a bit of honesty. We all know if you get in power, you're going to feather your own nest. Of course you are. Whether eating £7,000 worth of Jaffa cakes like Fat Boy Lammy did is the right thing, or is that taking the piss? I don't know. What do you reckon? But I think he will, and I don't think many people are saying this at the moment. Can they take that idiot David Lammy with them? Perhaps Rodney's replacement, Sadiq Khan. Well, that would just be dreadful. That's the last thing we want. We need this Labour government to be so discredited they'd never get voted in. And they can struggle on if they want or attempt to, but factors are going against them, like the IMF, like the economy at the moment, like the fact they've upset the farmers, they've upset the elderly with the winter fuel allowance. Do you know anybody who says, well, I think Starmer's doing quite a good job? No. And he's got big questions to answer soon, hasn't he, about other items in his private life. But I shall leave that there for the moment. Angela Rayner has to go, John, says Graham Hatton on Facebook. Her position is untenable. Correct. She's been ducking and weaving like a heavyweight boxer, but ultimately the knockout blow from the electorate to her own party will send her to the canvas. You're right, Kat. She's down. She's out for the count at the moment, basically. But Have you seen what they're also doing now? And I find this really insulting. I'm a working class guy. I was brought up in a police house. We had no money. This was before coppers were paid properly. I came from the raggy-arsed end of Radford in Coventry. It wasn't as bad as it is now. However, you can't use that as an excuse. Today, anybody who has been supporting her has been saying, well, she had such a tough upbringing and she's a working class girl and she's done this and she's done that. Yeah. But if she's done something crooked, does she get away with it because she's working class? Of course she doesn't. It's patronizing, it's condescending, and it's wrong. She thought she could screw 40 grand for herself, and that's what she did. And she's been caught out, bang to rights. By the way, I don't agree with people going down there and vandalizing the outside of her house. I understand the frustration, but I wouldn't do that if I was you. You're spot on. Get rid of Starmer, says Gene Williams on Facebook. Now, get rid of him now. He is SH1T. Thank you. I'm not counting chickens. We may still need the Tories cometh the day. Why would you need them? Why would you need the Tories? I don't understand that, John. Mick Smith says, hello, John. I'm at my mum's having a cuppa watching you on her telly and enjoying this. All the best. Good. At least, Mick, you won't get sent to prison for watching Gaunty. It's free. And then this one, Private Yosi 83B32, no to digital ITs, I'm refusing. Well, that's the latest thing, isn't it? And I talked about this yesterday. I'm against that as well. But what we've got at the moment, this is where I'm trying desperately to make people understand this. What is going on? We've got to try and get Farage into power sooner rather than later. That means we need to keep the pressure up on the idiot Starmer. That means we have to, the people on the right, if say you're a Rupert Lowe fan or if you're a Ben Habib fan, I met Ben Habib, I interviewed him, I like him. But it's not his time. He's not going to get his act together quick enough to build a big enough electoral base. Nigel has. Nigel is. We cannot go back to the two-party system. That's got to be broken up. And I'll tell you where the urgency is here as well. Don't forget what Starmer wants to do. He wants to give kids as young as 16, the same ones he wants to send off to get killed in the Ukraine, he wants to give them the vote. Why? Well, because he's gerrymandering, isn't he? Just like he'll end up giving the illegals a kind of amnesty, and then before you know it, they'll be voting as well. And who are they going to vote for? Oh, surprises of surprises, it's Labour. Although that might come back to bite him because they might vote for the real Labour, which will be Jeremy Corbyn. It's just absolutely so frustrating, so annoying. I sat there this morning watching telly, listening to the radio, and some people, they're just banging on about Angela Rayner. Well, I've had enough of her. She's finished. She's got to go. And if she doesn't go, she's finished anyway. So let's move the agenda on. And moving that agenda on is about getting Farage. When he said that last night, I had to agree with him. And as you know, it's been a slow journey for me with him. I wasn't sure about reform. I'm still not 100% sure. Just being honest with you. But he can't be worse than what we've got. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Probably going to do another one later. There's some big news breaking. If it does break properly, I'll be back at 6:30. If not, I'll see you later over the weekend. Thanks for all your support this week. It's been phenomenal. As you can see, I'm still at my daughter's dog sitting. He's nagging me now to take me out for him to take me out, me to take him out for a walk. So I'm going to have to do that in a minute. But listen, thanks very much. If you like what I do, tell all your mates about it and tell them to start watching it. And the biggest thing is get them to subscribe to YouTube, John Gaunt TV. It's completely free. They say the word subscribe. I think that puts people off. It's free, right? And then you can look at all of my videos, all of my podcasts, and you'll know where you are, right? So that's that. If you want to donate money, feel free. Press the little, what do you call it? $sign. Or alternatively, go to buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Let's finish with somebody who disagrees with me. Peter Adams over in Hungary says Farage as PM would be a disaster. Farage as the coalition leader would be a lot better. Reform have no substance within the party to govern at the moment. I think there's some fair criticism in that, Peter. He's not very good at working with people, even he agrees with, though. That's one of the problems I'd say to you. But I see where you're coming from. I do see where you're coming from. But I don't think he will be a disaster. Compared to what we've got, a deputy prime minister who fiddles the stamp duty, a property tax, a chancellor of the exchequer who fiddled her CV, a woman who was in charge of transport who basically had a mysterious telephone incident in her last job, Hague, I think her name was. Then there's the other one who was in charge of corruption, who's now up on a corruption charge herself. Do you want me to go on? This lot are as bent as the previous lot. Makes you sick, doesn't it? Jackie Ward, thank you, Jackie, for cheering me up. She's given me 3 red love hearts. Thank you. All right, that's me finished. Might speak to you later. If not, I'll see you soon, very soon, because I'm here all weekend on my own, so I've got to have someone to talk to. You're my therapy. So until we meet again, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.